We are living in a complex and mysterious world. There are many things that are unknown and uncertain in our universe. Like coincidence, paranormal and supernatural phenomena, and ESP, so much of what's going on around us can't be explained by science. What we will focus on today is one of those phenomena. The synchronicity.
The term synchronicity is a concept first introduced by a famous Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst Carl Jung to describe meaningfully related circumstances yet lack a causal connection. In his book Synchronicity, an acausal connecting principle, Jung defines and proves the existence of synchronicity.
Synchronicity consists of two factors. One is an unconscious image that comes into consciousness either directly or indirectly in the form of a dream, idea, or premonition. Another one is an objective situation that coincides with this content. Have you ever had a premonition of something, and it happens shortly after? That is an example of synchronicity. But it's usually not that bad. But there is no solid evidence proving its existence, so it remains mysterious in our real life. Recently, a research group led by Professor Michael Shum at New York University has gone outside, attempting to explore the existence of synchronicity in our real life. Let's see what responses they have gotten from the public.
Do you believe in synchronicity?
I don't think I believe in it, although I do think I might have experienced something like this, like I might have thought of something and then it happened. But yeah, I don't actually believe in the concept.
Yes. Yeah? Yes, I am.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Not really.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
No.
After explaining the definition of synchronicity to the strangers they met on the street, we heard different opinions. The research group has noticed a problem.
So there was one guy saying that he didn't believe in synchronicity but has experienced something like synchronicity. So we thought asking a yes or no question is kind of biased since there are a lot of people have experienced synchronicity but still don't believe in it. We therefore decided to ask for specific examples.
Have you ever experienced synchronicity in your own life?
Oh yeah, every day. I mean, yeah, kind of an example I just said, like thinking of something, seeing it online. I think there's like some word for that concept where like you think of something and then you start seeing it everywhere and you hadn't seen it before, and maybe that's a mental thing of like before you heard about it, your mind was less attuned to like picking it up in the environment around you. So I think there are things like that about like how your brain works that kind of not tricks you, but kind of conditions you to pick up on certain things that may be more common than before you thought of it. But yeah, it happens to me on a daily basis. Happens to everyone, I would say. I'd say it's pretty common.
At some point, it happens to everyone pretty much.
Yeah.
All right. You don't believe that there's like a higher power. So
No.
What do you think would cause like this?
What do you think would cause just synchronicity to happen?
Yeah, maybe not like a specific experience in your own life, but just like in general, like throughout like all people.
Yeah, kind of like what I said before. I think it's just a matter of every day there's just so many events that happen. Whether it's like an encounter with other people or like a sign you see or like something you see in your phone, like there's probably, I don't know, like thousands of stimuli every day that you kind of interact with. And so I think with such a high probability of events, like there's kind of bound to be some overlap of things and things that you kind of connect in your brain. And even things like confirmation bias where I don't know, like you may think like, oh, like I always like I never get like a seat at the dining hall, it's always full when I go, but like you kind of forget the times when like it is, you know, more empty so you can get a seat to kind of confirm what you already believe. And so I think it just really comes down to like the amount of events you experience every day and the number of things you run into and like how that kind of does line up. But yeah, no higher power or anything. The only thing I would say is like for my example before when like you kind of know it's like a computer generated technology thing, the higher power of like big tech companies and like whatever companies that are stealing your information. But yeah, I just think it's about the problem you want to address.
All right. Well, that was the last question. We appreciate your insight.
I hope those were comprehensive enough.
In the first interview, our interviewee Lucas said that he doesn't believe in a god or any kind of higher power that causes synchronicity to occur. In his experience with synchronicity, he mentioned it that when he searched for something online, he would see relevant ads pop up. Then, in response to why this coincidence wasn't caused by any higher power or God, he explained it that maybe there's an AI in his computer listening to him, so it knew exactly what kind of ads should be sent to him. Actually, his explanation is supported by my research about whether our phones track what we search online. And in the final question about the cause of synchronicity, Luca said that with such a high probability of events, it's kind of bounded to be some overlap of things. And that's actually related to the law of large numbers that we discussed in class. Let's take the birthday as an example. From the micro perspective, it might be surprising that you share the same birthday with your friends. But from the macro perspective, it is bounded that out of hundreds of thousands of people you met in life, some people is gonna have the same birthday as yours. So that's all for the first interview, and you'll see more different opinions on synchronicity in the next few interviews.
Questions: do you believe that there is synchronicity in our world?
Well, I believe that dreams can be a kind of over reality, so sometimes it does happen to me when I see something in a dream and then it happens in the real life. So I guess, yeah, there's some kind of force in there that works out like that.
And second question: have you experienced synchronicity in your life?
Well, as I said, sometimes I had some dreams, and it became the reality the next day. For example, I do betting on football, and when I see some team winning, and I place a bet for the next day, and usually it works out like that.
What about, like, do you have any experiences like outside of your dreams, maybe day-to-day life?
So what would be an example of like a day-to-day life? So like two of the same events happening in the...
Like for me, this happens to me a lot of times, right? Let's say I listen to music a lot, right? So I'm thinking of a song, right? And I shuffle my playlist, and that same song plays. Like the exact song I'm thinking about plays. Like it seems surprising, right? Like, how did that happen?
Right. Yeah, I would need to think about that example. I don't have that example.
Okay. We could come back to it. Yeah. And you mentioned like a greater force, right?
Sure, yeah.
So like, do you think there's a greater force the cause of synchronicity? Or, like, what would cause events like that?
Well, I do believe in God or in some greater force that has created our world and kind of drives us in our real world here. So I would say there's some force out there.
Okay. And that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the start of this interview, interview explains that they believe that there is a higher force present when, say, they see something in a dream and that something happens to them in their own life. Later on in the interview, they mentioned that they believe in God, which could be the higher force present that was previously mentioned, and is most likely the cause of their understanding of synchronicity. Although this interviewee was unable to think of a specific example of synchronicity, through their responses, we're able to see that they do in fact believe in synchronicity and have even attributed God to be a possible cause of synchronicity. Throughout the rest of the examples, we're going to see other possible causes of synchronicity as well.
Do you believe that there is synchronicity in our world?
I think so, yeah.
And what are your initial thoughts on it?
I've kind of had experiences like growing up my whole life where like something happened and then like not too far after something else happened and it just felt like right place, right time kind of thing.
It's like
Things
the
just fell into
weird, like they
place.
just could somehow connect between
Yeah.
each other, right? All right, and you just like answered this, but you've experienced it in your own life, right?
Yeah, several times from being young to like most recently, like a couple months back.
Do you mind like giving us your most like important memory, I guess,
Most important memory
of like coincidence, synchronicity.
So basically, like, my friend, like, she kind of felt like she had it's really stupid. So basically, she had this drink, and she like never threw out the drink, and it was in her fridge. So one day I was cleaning it out for her, and she was like, "Oh, there's like all this like bad luck. Like if you do anything to it, like bad luck's gonna happen." So then I threw it out, and like literally, we ended up getting COVID. My ex tried canceling me for like I cheated on her,
Yeah.
so, like stupid shit.
Yeah.
And then like I ended up going to jail for like a night for like edibles and shit,
Yeah.
like some stupid shit. And it was like all of that. She was like, "It's because you did that one
Yeah.
thing." I was like, I mean, okay. Everything just kind of happened all in the span of like 3 days. I was like, that was kind of crazy. Yeah.
Like, what do you think like caused it? Like this event, was it random? Was there like something else?
I don't know. Sometimes I think, like, I don't think her drink was cursed, but I guess maybe sometimes you believe in something enough. I think she definitely was like, "Oh, something bad's gonna happen," and then bad things
Something
ended up
did
happening.
happen.
I think, like, maybe if you put your energy into that, maybe there's something we don't really have, like, a connection to that I guess does, you know, something to us.
Okay. And lastly, do you believe in God or like a higher force?
Not God necessarily, but I do believe in like a higher force. I think there's something bigger than us, but not specifically God. Maybe it's just like the universe's way of like, hey, like you got to go this way, or you know, I guess like a choose your own adventure kind of thing. But there's a certain path you're going in.
And do you think, you know, this higher force, whatever, do you think it has an effect on synchronicities?
I think so. I think it's like I guess the way I think of it is like life's kind of like an open world kind of thing, and there's like certain checkpoints, probably certain people you need to meet, and they come into your life sometimes by coincidence, or I guess synchronicity is what they're saying. So I think, yeah, like you're meant to go to these certain places, but how you get there is kind of up to you, you know?
The third interviewee says there is a higher power, but not God necessarily in this world, controlling everything to happen. And he believes that synchronicity is a kind of deterministic concept, but not perfectly deterministic. There are some checkpoints in our life. We are meant to get there eventually, but how we get there is up to our decision. It's interesting that he brought determinism once again into our discussion of synchronicity. And I think the existence of synchronicity is more like a philosophical question right now.
It is clear from these interviews with people from different backgrounds that people have different beliefs about synchronicity. Some interviewees believe that there is no God or any higher power that causes synchronicity. Instead, they believe that synchronicity occurs because when there are a large number of events happening at the same time, some events are likely to overlap with each other. However, some of them believe that God and other higher power exist in our universe because they describe their experiences of synchronicity through dreams or other events. Some of them insist on a different perspective of synchronicity, that is, even if they did not believe in God, they believed in the existence of higher forces. Also, they mention that synchronicity is basically some checkpoints in your life that you are destined to encounter. When and how do you encounter these points? It doesn't really matter, it all depends on you. Maybe it's just similar to Anna Munner's statement about determinism: whatever is going to happen will happen, whether we worry or not. Well, after seeing the different answers from our respondents,